Welcome to the Big 5 reading modules. I am Dr. Gayla Loafing from the Southwest Plains Regional Service Center. This is module number 1 of a 5-part series. References for these modules can be found in handout number 12. Who are these people? What do they have to do with the Big 5? In 1997, the National Institute of the Child Health and Human Development and the Secretary of Education were charged to convene a national panel to assess the status of research-based knowledge and instructional practices and approaches regarding teaching children how to read. This panel of 14 members included well-known researchers and educators. In following through on their charge, Dr. Shaywitz, Dr. Shanahan, Dr. Airy, Dr. Samuels, and Dr. Camille, and others considered a database of nearly 115,000 research studies and decided, because of the sheer number of studies, they would need to prioritize the topics. So this panel, including these people, decided the big ideas or topics would be alphabetics, including phonemic awareness and phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and text comprehension. But why? Why these big 5 essential components of reading? Why choose them? What are they anyway? Well, let's explore what each one looks like with a text called the Lurky Nark. It is your handout number 1. It looks like this. Please take a few seconds to read the Lurky Nark and then be ready to think with me. What did you think? I'm guessing you thought the text was nonsense, and you're thinking it didn't make any sense to you. Yes? But explore with me, and let's think again as I read aloud the Lurky Nark. A Lurky Nark horped wave into the blink's crump. Why did you horp wave into my crump? Cuffed the blink. Phoop, scrabbled the nark. I horped wave into your crump to blip your crab. Well, scruffed the blink, I know blank wave in my crump. Wave in my crump can only scrab me. The Lurky Nark slozzled away crump-flunkingly to find more wave. He planned to horp wave into the blink's crump again. He even planned to horp wave into the blink's zaboo. Still nonsense? I bet not. No doubt you determined there are 2 characters, and those 2 characters are not getting along very well. Yes? The Lurky Nark seems to be in conflict with the blink, right? Well, how did you come to that realization if you consider the text to be nonsense? Well, let's look at what you did. Take this word, horp. How did you figure it out? Did you see the or and think of the word or and add a h and a p to or and say horp? Or maybe you saw the H-O or R and thought of the word horse and then manipulated that letter P to say horp? What you did, in essence, is use your knowledge of graphemes or letters and sounds to figure out an unfamiliar word, horp. That is referred to as phonics. Readers convert letters to sounds in order to blend together sounds and make words. This is an essential component of reading. It is important, and you showed that by decoding nonsense words like horp using your knowledge of letters and sounds. But let's look closer. In order for you to be able to blend those converted letters to sounds, you needed to have an awareness of how the sounds work. Think about that. When I said lurky, what did you think of? Turkey? Did you think, oh, that sounds familiar, like a word I know? Turkey? I just have to substitute the O for the T and say lurky. Maybe when I read like, you thought that sounds a lot like. You just needed to add a B sound and say blike. In order to know how to use letters and sounds, readers must have an awareness of how to manipulate, add or subtract, or substitute sounds in words to make new words, just like you did. That's referred to as phonological awareness. It's the hearing of chunks or syllables, or even individual phonemes or sounds in words. It is an essential component of reading. So now you know you use these two key components, phonics and phonemic awareness. But those skills actually help you to figure out the two characters were having a conflict? How did you do that? Well, think again with me. Let's look at this word horp. We read a lurky nark horped. How can we tell what horp means? By looking at its position in the sentence, following the subject nark, and preceding the direct object wave, we can see it's an action verb. Horp is doing something, right? The lurky nark put something into the blink's crump. I can use my knowledge of grammar to figure out the meaning of the word. Knowing the meanings of words is very important because that helps me to understand how the characters are conflicting or fighting with each other. We refer to this as vocabulary. A reader who encounters a strange word has to have plans to figure out its meaning. You used your word order understanding or your understanding of position of words or syntax to help you with the meaning of horp as a verb. Understanding the vocabulary in a text is critical to comprehension. These are both essential components of reading. So let's look more closely at this essential component of comprehension. What do readers do when they comprehend? How did you comprehend and make sense? Think with me. The narc and the blank appeared to be characters, just like Shrek and Donkey were characters in the movie Shrek. Both words are capitalized. That's a clue for me that they are proper nouns or names. The horping or the doing something sounds like a problem. Maybe a problem you or I have heard in another story, or maybe something we've seen in the real world. When the lurky narc slozzled away crumflunkingly, well, that reminds me of another character in another story who did something nasty or wicked and then slurked away like a creep or someone not nice. Did you make a similar connection? Yes? So when readers connect the meanings of words with their background experiences and interact personally with the text, they comprehend. Comprehending is essential to reading. Now, when I read this, the lurky narc, one more time, I want you to pay attention to these symbols that I've highlighted in green. What are they? Why are they important? How do they help me with my reading of the passage? A lurking narc horped wave into the blink's crump. Why did you horp wave into my crump? Cuffed the blink. Phoop, squabbled the narc. I horped wave into your crump to blip your crap. Well, gruffed the blink, I no blike wave in my crump. Wave in my crump can only scrap me. Did you notice those symbols? The quotation marks, the periods, the question marks? How did they help me with my meaning? Did you notice how I referred to them in my flow? I decoded the words quickly and kept my pace. How did that help with the attention to the text? When readers read a text, they must not only identify words by using letters and sounds, they must do so accurately and with expression. They must pay attention to punctuation. They keep a pace that reflects their comprehension or their understanding. We say this is fluency. In other words, readers must be fluent. Fluency is an essential reading skill because it combines the decoding of words with word meanings and allows the reader to focus on the meaning of text. It involves accuracy, speed, and expression, or something referred to as prosody, which is just the up and the down, and the loud and the soft, and the angry or the sad intonations or pitches we use in our voices. So in 2000, when the National Reading Panel Special Committee reported on their studying of what constitutes effective reading instruction research, they included answers to these questions. Does phonemic instruction improve reading? If so, how is this instruction best provided? Does phonics instruction improve reading achievement? If so, how is this instruction best provided? Does guided oral reading instruction improve fluency and reading comprehension? If so, how is this instruction best provided? Does vocabulary instruction improve reading achievement? If so, how is this instruction best provided? And does comprehension strategy instruction improve reading? If so, how is this best provided? These are the big 5 ideas they considered as important to effective reading instruction. Our task then, in modules 2 through 5, is to examine each of these big ideas in terms of its what and how of instructional practices. We'll look at each idea in terms of the Kansas ELA standards and reflect on how the big 5 essential components overlap and balance each other. To help you with the National Reading Panel overview of each of these big ideas, please review the abbreviated report in handout number 2 by using the expectation outline in handout number 3. Please know an expectation outline is a strategy for helping readers tackle challenging nonfiction texts. It helps a reader to search for prioritized pieces of information. This outline is a useful guide for understanding each of the big 5 essential components. It's meant to provide an overview of our next modules as we begin to look at the big 5.